Screams echoed through the palace of Rainbow Dash's home. The filly started wide awake in a cold sweat, terror surging through her veins. Nightmares, again. It was sometime this month. It was the same. It was always the same one, the one with the cupcakes. Flashes of memory lanced through her head. Wings being hacked off and ripped from their sockets, needles plunged into her beating heart, Angeline injected to her body just to keep her awake. An alert at the torture went on. The smell of her own flesh cooking, the sight of her own blood and gore spilling from her surgical incest belly. The mastermind behind her terror toying with the glistening organs. They were like party favors. She knew in her heart that Pinkie Pie would never be capable of such gruesome act, but that didn't help to make the dreams any less vivid. The Pegasus pony sobbed openly, curled up in her blanket, and rocking back and forth, and as her body trembled with fear. She hadn't told anyone about the dreams, and a lingering feeling of steel piercing flesh and blade cutting bone. Her work had suffered because of constant night terrors, the nightmare being so powerful that she was simply afraid of going back to sleep. Some nights staying up altogether in an attempt to stave off the horrors just one more night. And every pony wondered why she spent most of her days napping in the open in the daylight. Because of the shining brilliance of the sun. It was the only way she could actually rest. But even then, the black clutches of her field-edited consciousness had begun to creep even into that relative safety, following her through the dreamy world. Dash whimpered as tears streaked down her face, staining the fur of her cheeks as wide eyes darted around the darkened scenery of her room, heart pounding in her chest as breath came before hiccuping sobs, her wings clinging tight against her form as paranoia began to clutch at the edges of her mind. Shadows lurched and moved in her peripheral vision, routine natural noises becoming distorted and echoing within her mind as adrenaline surged through her shivering form. This wasn't healthy. Her mind was slowly breaking under the horrors of her subconscious mind. Things that no pony should ever even have the slightest thought about clipping away at her psyche. She was starting to crack.